Hello and welcome into the latest edition of the Fore-All Podcast. I'm Jesse Morrison alongside Max Bechtold and took a week off last week. There was no LPGA tournament to preview. However, there was a Ladies European Tour event over the weekend. The Ladies European Tour KPMG Women's Irish Open Golf Championship. So another one of these long names. But that is burying the lead. The lead is that we had an amateur, Lottie Woad, win by 6 strokes over Madeline Sackstrom, Charlie Hull, Leona Maguire,
Georgia Hall. Yeah.
We had quite the field there, and we had an amateur winning by 6 strokes. I gotta say, I think she might be the future of women's golf.
She's certainly in play, and that future could come very, very quickly. This is like a very important time in Lottie Woad's career, obviously, because she is in the field at the Evian this week. She will be in the field at the AIG Women's Open. If she makes the cut in those two events, she will earn enough leap points to join the LPGA Tour. So this could move very quickly. And Lottie Woad is a star right now. I still think we're going to see a little bit, and this is predictable with young players coming to the tour. I think we need to expect a little bit of inconsistency. I think we'll see great moments like this. I think we'll see big moments like this. This is a huge win. Amateurs win maybe a little bit more often on the women's side than the men's side, professional events, but it's still rare. It's still the first time since 2022 someone's won on either the LET or the LPGA Tour as an amateur. So this is a huge deal, and it's not really a fluke because we've seen Lottie Woad play so well in the past. Augusta National Women's Amateur. She's been the number one ranked amateur in the world for almost over a year. This is a kind of a crowning of a star that I think we all saw coming, just maybe not this soon.
Yeah, what really blows me away is not only that she won, it's that she won by 6 strokes over, again, really good pro players like Charlie Hull, like Leona Maguire. Like, she dominated. She didn't even, it's not like she just won it. It was a dominant performance. So, I mean, I think the future is super bright for her. Obviously, when she gets onto the LPGA Tour, she'll have to compete with the Rio Takedas of the world, who are also in the running for future of women's golf, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to the Dow Championship. Uh, Really fun event. Little long, uh, but it was a really fun event. We saw Somi Lee and Jin Hee M take this one in a playoff over Lexi Thompson and Megan Kang. Really fun to see Lexi in contention like this. Very heartbreaking finish for her, but again, a great tournament and a really uh, just intriguing playoff hole that they played. Just kind of what were your overall takeaways from this tournament?
Well, I think my first takeaway, I mean, obviously, I'll get to Somi Lee and Jin Hiem in a second because this was a huge joint victory for them. But you know that this is not, it's probably going to go over a lot of people's heads. But John Rothstein, you know how he always tweets, January, February, Izzo. It's
Yeah,
like April, May, Lexi. Because Lexi's Junes the last 2 years have been phenomenal. I mean, Lexi was great all month. Last year, she was great at this time as well. Next year, I think when we get to the Solheim Cup time, if she has another June like this, I think it could get interesting. But great tournament. And honestly, Lexi did everything that she needed to do down the stretch. She hit a huge putt to get into the playoff. Then in the playoffs, she hit a great shot in, gave Megan Kane a great look. It just didn't work out. So great performance by them. But Somi Lee and Jin Hiem, they were a perfect pairing because they didn't need each other to bail each other out. They were just both playing great the whole time. And Jin Hiem played a little bit better on Sunday, but they were just a really solid team together. These are two of the best players in the world without wins previously, so it's great to see them get that together. Somi Lee has really grown a lot. I think people forget she was the last player left out of the U.S. Women's Open this year. She didn't even play in the U.S. Women's Open. And now it kind of feels like she's one of the rising stars from Korea, as is Jin Hyun, who came in second last year for Rookie of the Year. That was an amazing race. Came down to the last day of the season between her and Mao Saigo. So this is great. 50th and 51st Korean winners on tour. So past that kind of little milestone. Awesome performance. I love this event. And I love that we see two rising stars win it, because hopefully, kind of like Gino and Ronan Yin last year, hopefully they come back and continue to support this tournament and continue playing it and kind of keep that field level up. So I think it was a really great week, a really great event, one of the best tournaments of the season so far.
All right. You also wanted to talk about, Max, how this tournament, this Dow championship, has some implications for the Solheim Cup. What do you think that this does for that?
Well, this is interesting. I feel like not enough teams have used this opportunity to kind of bolster their Solheim Cup potential, but I think we saw a few of them do it here. This is the closest equivalent that you're going to get to the Solheim Cup, because you play the same formats. It's a great chance for the captains to see these players, how they pair up together. And, I'm thinking about Lexi Thompson and Megan Kang, who are undefeated in Solheim Cup play together, played great this week. I think you probably want that team together potentially next year in 2026. I mean, I know Lexi is technically retired. We have no idea. It seems like she's going to take a pretty long break now. So I think we're going to start seeing those impacts, over the next couple months. But I still think that this is a player that you really want in the team room on the roster. And I think this week showed it. And then I also saw Manon DeRoy and Pauline Roussin-Bouchard, two players kind of under the radar in Europe. But I think we're going to see a pretty big turnover on the European team after their loss last time out. I think Europe has really, won on vibes a lot of times. They've just got good vibes, but maybe not the same talent level. And I think after a loss like this, I think we're going to see them kind of try to get new blood in there, try to see if they can kind of make something happen. And Manon DeRoy and Pauline Roussin-Bouchard both played great. They played great together. They were really, really in it down the stretch. And so I think that these are two players that we could see on that European squad. Then I also really saw a lot from Lucy Lee that I like. She was up there at the top of the leaderboard. When you talk about young players, I mean, I know Lucy Lee's been around for a while, but she's still only 22 years old. So this is a good young American to kind of keep an eye on. I kind of have pegged her and Austin Kim as the kind of two players who I could see really crashing the team and making their Solheim Cup debuts. And so it was great to see Lucy Lee play well. And Austin Kim played well too, next to Seon Kim. So there's a lot of players that are going to be in Solheim Cup discussions that I think played really well this week or last week.
Yeah, and to go back to your point about Lexi, I think that the retirement, I put in quotes because she is still playing a lot, but I think kind of the part-time schedule for her has benefited her. I think, she's fresher when she's out there. And, I don't see why that can't continue into when the Solheim Cup happens. Like, I think that she's a better golfer now than she was last year, because of, I just feel like she's playing a schedule that fits her a little bit better at this point in her career. And I think I can definitely see her, on this Solheim Cup team.
And I think the retirement, I think, has really freed her up too.
Yeah.
I think she was playing with just so much pressure. It was, she was kind of seen, especially in the last few years, as kind of a career disappointment, where it's like she's been one of these players that every time she goes out there, she's been the biggest star in the field. She's been a player that a lot has been expected of. She kind of changed the game with how far she hit it. She was one of the first players to just really kind of notch that driving distance up. And I think she was just playing with so much pressure, especially with not having won over the last 4 or 5 years. that I think now that she's retired, I think that she's not expecting as much out of herself, and I think that's helping her golf game.
All right, let's move on to the Evian Championship. We do have a major this week. Uh, Probably, in your opinion, the fifth best major, but a major nonetheless. And we got a great field for this one, of course, with it being a major. All 18 winners this year, 46 of the top 50 players, only the number 30 best player, the 39th best player, Lexi, the 43rd best player, if you were looking to watch her this weekend. Not gonna happen. And then
Yeah, she's now playing her worst enemy, Evian.
yeah, and then the 47th ranked player in the world. But Max, just kind of what are your thoughts going into this championship?
Well, I will say this year it kind of feels like a major for the first time in a while. We often see this field is just not major quality usually. This year it is. It's a very good field this year. Like we said, Lexi isn't playing it. She hasn't played in it since 2019. And so I think that this is a great field. It's a goofy course, obviously, but it's controversial usually that there's a few stories that come out that don't paint it in the brightest light, but when you go back and look at the winners over the last 10 years of this, it's an impressive roster, probably better quality than any of the other majors. And so say what you will about it, it provides star-studded winners, and I think that justifies it as a major. So I'm looking forward to it this week. Obviously the TV times are very, very early, so set your alarm clocks. I believe the Saturday and Sunday coverage starts at 1 a.m. on the West Coast, so that'll be fun.
And failed to mention that Ayaka Furue is coming off a win in this last year. She'll be playing in this and will be defending her title. And yeah, I mean, you could also just stay up like me.
Yeah,
That's what I will be doing. Is it's just staying up till certain pretty late. It's kind of a conflicting weekend as a tennis fan because it's like the golf is on late and the tennis is on in the morning.
yeah.
So it's very interesting. But before we get into predictions and all that, Max, how can people watch this?
It's going to be on Golf Channel, which is great to see. Obviously, when you're playing at 1 o'clock in the morning in the United States, not a lot else going on. So, yeah, it's going to be on Golf Channel. The men's Scottish Open is on this week as well. That's starting a little bit later though, so yeah, you'll be able to catch it. I believe it goes on NBC Sports Digital for an hour on Thursday and Friday. But other than that, it's on Golf Channel early in the morning, but it will be all on TV, so that's great.
If you are an American golf fan, both on the men's and women's side, completely mess up your sleep schedule this weekend.
Hey, it'll just prepare you for the Open next week, so you'll just kind of get on schedule and just stay on that.
All right. So who do you kind of see as maybe one of the or a couple of the favorites going into this one?
I am looking at Minji Lee right now. I think she could win two majors in a row. This is a course she's had a lot of success on. It's where she won her first major. She came back from 7 strokes back in the final round to win that. She should have a lot of confidence right now. Her putting's obviously incredible. She usually, like Lexi, plays well this time of year. Um, Coming off the win, playing with a lot of momentum, I think that Minji should feel very, very confident this week. I also think Gino too. Gino plays well here. Also, obviously, we're starting to get close to that. I need to see Gino finish in a major because she's played great in a lot of them and has struggled down the stretch on Saturday and Sunday. But I think we could see a repeat of the KPMG Women's PGA where Minji and Gino are at the top of the leaderboard late.
Yeah, I'm definitely kind of on the Gino needs to prove it before I pick her situation. And then, of course I would love to go with Nelly, but I've sworn off picking her
She
recently.
does play well in this event generally, so that is
Yeah.
a bonus point for her.
But Max, I'm going to have to go with Minji Lee as well. She's won this before and she's playing really well right now. And then I guess my other choice would be another player that has been okay this year after a really great year last year, but again, a past winner of this a while back. Lydia Ko, I think could have a good week. So those are kind of my two that I'm looking at as potential winners of this. Again, we'll probably be wrong. It'll probably be somebody like that, is a first time winner or something.
I do think this tournament, for some reason, this week is giving off the vibes of kind of an out of nowhere winner. Like I just mentioned, Pauline Rusin Bouchard. I think with a lot of confidence and a lot of momentum, playing in her home country, I could see her coming out of nowhere and winning this as well. So keep an eye on her.
Oh, one other question before we get out of here. Who do you think's not somebody that to really watch this week?
That's an interesting one. I don't know. I think a lot of people would be tempted to pick Brooke to play really well, Brooke Henderson, because she's played this course probably better than anybody over the last 10 years.
Past champion.
Yep, she's past champion. I think she's had a couple top fives here. When she won her major, she wasn't really expected to at Evian, but I think the vibes aren't there. I've said vibes a lot at this episode, but I just they aren't feeling there right now for me for Brooke. And same with another past champion, Jin Young Ko. Like two players who I think their past results, it would make them tempting to pick. I would stay away from those two.
Well, Max, you're saying vibes. This is a tournament that is in Europe, and the European Solheim Cup team is all about vibes.
They are.
So I think it makes sense to talk about vibes.
Yeah.
All right, before we get out of here, what are some things on the site that we should be checking out right now?
Yeah, I just put up a article on Sunday, kind of going over the history of the Evian Championship, which is even though it's short. I mean, this tournament's only been around about 30 years. It's been an interesting history. It's gone through a few phases. It was originally just an LET event, then it was an LPGA event, then it got upgraded to major. It's had a lot of controversies around it, so I kind of covered that, and I've covered some of the really exciting finishes that have come in the last 5 years. So that's up there on the site, and then there's going to be coverage of the Evian Championship, of course, all week. It'll be up there early, so when you wake up, if you want to, have a coffee and read some recaps of rounds, those should be up pretty early in the mornings. So check that out, and go check out the newsletter. I believe we're up over 1,300 subscribers at this point. So thank everybody for following that, and yeah.
Yes, if you do not want to change up your sleep schedule this weekend, Max will have everything you need to know on this tournament up on Fore-All.com. That's FORE-ALL.com. And we will be back next week to recap this Evian Championship and preview the next event.